Okay, I hope you're having a nice summer holiday. I know I am. Anyway, I just thought I'd make a little video here of some of the projects I've been doing in my spare time. I basically made a few DIY modules for the modular. First off, what you were listening to was the Wave Multiplier number 2. I've made this little expansion, and this enables me to take out the saw waves or the square waves from the wave multiplier. Now, if you don't know this module, check that out. It's A137 number 2. And basically what it does, it takes a triangle or a sawtooth and it enables you to phase shift some copies, and in the process it uses square waves and eventually saw waves. Now you can actually, with the expander, you can actually tap the square waves. And what I've done is, like I say, I've made this panel. I also made here this audio mixer. So I'm taking the 4 square waves and I've just got volume controls for each one. Now that's fairly straightforward. I I made this mixer as well, and over here I've also made a dual inverter and a CV amplifier. Now this CV amplifier I'm using to make the clock signal from the Doppler system clock strong enough to drive the step sequencer, because if you remember from a previous video, if I turn it off, you'll see the clock isn't strong enough to drive the step sequencer because it needs something like 10 or 11 volts. And I think the CV output of the Doppler clock is something like 3 volts, which isn't enough. So this multiplier amplifier, this enables me to get it up to 11 volts when it's at maximum, and this will drive the step sequencer just lovely. And also here I've got a quad slew. For those of you who don't know, a slew basically is a little bit like a portamento or a low pass filter, and what it does is, if you've got a square wave modulation, instead of it being square or round off the corners a little bit, it will stop the clicking. Yeah, so that's it. These are the modules I've made. Now this quad slew, this is the one that inspired everything. I came across a post on Nav's modular blog. I shall give you a link to that and some other links that might be quite useful. There's a link, a thread on the Muff Wigglers forum about this module as well. So basically this is the one that inspired it, and then from that article there was a link to a Doppler DIY page which I hadn't actually seen before, and basically it showed you, there's lots of schematics there, so I'll give you a link to that. But one of them was that the mixer. Now this one I've made for audio, so it's got some logarithmic pots, but if you wanted one for CV you could just change the pots to linear. The dual inverter as well, or this is just that there was a schematic for an inverter and of course for the amplifier. And if you look on the A1372 page, there's also a schematic of how you can make this. So yeah, I'll put some links up to all of these. Like I said, none of these are my own designs, it's just sort of things I've been doing, and the actual price of all these was very cheap. If you bought one of these mixers from Doppler ready-made, I think the price of that one mixer covered the cost of all of these extra modules, plus I've got enough parts to make another one of these mixers, which I will do. I'll make one for CV eventually. So yeah, I mean, it's if you're looking at saving some money, and you need a few utility modules, it's excellent. Like I say, all these sounds are coming from the wave multiplier, and they're all coming from a triangle waveform from the MC202. So if you listen to it, what you've got is square waves, and they're being modulated by some LFOs, and it basically, when you're running on the square waves, it just changes the pulse width. So I'll turn this back up again and have a listen, and I'll see you next time.